What's up, everybody? It's Friday.
What's up, guys?
Yay.
What's up, MK? Welcome back, sir. How are you? Man. What a busy week, man.
Guess I gotta turn on. I gotta see the comments. Hold on, do that real quick.
You should see the comments.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody should comment on you.
Yeah, new leak for upcoming Marvel film.
Wait. Okay, so Avery's sharing. Avery's
Sharing,
going for
I've got some news. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Avery's sharing this.
MC rumors. Sarah Jessica Parker rumored to play the cast of Gatorade Bill.
Wow. Wow.
MCU rumors. Sarah Jessica Parker rumored to be cast as Beta Ray Bill, an upcoming Marvel project. I agree with MK. That's so fucking wrong. So, just for those who don't know, Beta Ray Bill is a horse-faced character.
Oh, he's got a head like a horse's skull.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. I immediately
put it up again.
Okay.
Who is it that refers to as a horse face?
Everyone.
No. There's somebody famous that kind of started that. Was it South Park?
I know South Park does.
There is a resemblance, man.
Oh, dude.
I always thought she was pretty. You know, when she was younger.
When she was in her 20s, from the neck down, she wasn't so bad.
From the neck down. Avery.
Avery's tried to imply that she's a butterface.
No, I think he just implied that she's Beta Ray Bill.
I love Beta Ray Bill.
I do too.
I would love to see him in a. Well, there was a time I would have loved to have seen him in the Thor movies.
Yeah.
Like when you watch Thor 3, his face is in there.
I know. You guys have had a good week?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. Right.
Wasted week.
Another Friday down, 27 more to go.
Nice.
To your retirement, that is?
Yep. My daughter has asked me to quit giving her updates because her wedding is the week before. So when I say 27 Fridays, that means she only has 26.
Oh yeah. Why don't you just say the week after my daughter's wedding and just be better at it, be a better father?
Well, that's when it is. I'm a numbers guy. I'm keeping track of it number-wise.
Speaking of being a better father, Todd, how is your sole proprietorship of the children this weekend going?
Oh shit, dude.
Oh, wait a minute. What the hell's going on?
Melissa finally had enough.
Yes,
we've been taking bets.
We've been taking bets for 13 years.
We've always said if she was smart.
Yeah, well, you know.
We know she is. We just figured she'd figure it out eventually.
Eventually she will. No, she is on a business trip. And so yeah, tonight is the first night of the me and the kids. And so it's I don't know. I hesitate to say it went well. We shall see. This weekend's going to be brutal. And then really this weekend will be okay. What's going to be brutal is like when they go back to school on Monday. Because then I have to like wake up because the way we break up our day stuff is like I take one of the kids to school and I pick up the kids from their activities after school. But Melissa's the one that gets up crack of dawn and like gets them out of bed and feeds them and puts them on the bus and all that kind of shit. So that's going to be my job, which is going to really suck because like I have a tendency to stay up a little later than I should, which means I'm usually wrecked in the morning.
Yeah. And do you even know the correct bus number to make sure they
get
on the right bus?
No. I don't know anything. she
I'm just saying, that's typically a thing.
Would it surprise?
My husband does not know.
Would it surprise any of you guys that she literally wrote me a Notion document to tell me exactly what to do every single day? Like throughout the entire day.
Probably like pretty smart on her part. It's like when I get back, I would like the children to be alive and here.
Yeah. As a parent, that's kind of your only job is to keep them alive.
You don't need to tell us. You don't need to say it out loud. But do you know what school your children go to?
I think so.
There was a time there where I had no clue what school my kids went to.
Why? What?
We were somewhere close, but
Somewhere close?
no, I
What's your
worked.
official answer to like knowing where your kids went to school? I don't know.
There was a
Somewhere
point. There
close?
was a point in time that I was working 3 jobs, and my wife was at home with the kids. So the simple fact is, I have pictures of my children around the same age as your children are now.
Mhm.
I don't remember that, but I have pictures of it.
Consider yourself blessed.
Yeah, well,
Oh man. So this week was pretty good. We got it went quick, man. Like we did a lot of work on the RPG this week, getting stuff set up for lore games, and then Andrew and Rommel decided to back out because they got quote unquote sick because there was a Jacksonville Jaguars game.
which we won, by the way,
Oh, I'm glad.
in fantastic style.
Does it make you feel better or worse that I hope the Jaguars lose so that you show up to our lore games more often?
Well, they don't play prime time that often. So
I mean, they don't play at all. They just kind of show up and like.
what are you talking
Humble.
about? We're sole leader in our division. We're 5-2. We've won 4 games in a row. So fuck off, man.
Who's behind you?
The Colts, and they're like 2 games behind us right now.
We'll see.
So no, the Jags are playing much better. Their defense freaking rocks. Their defense saved the day. But yeah. It was a good game. It was a down to the last minute, the last play type of game. 4th and goal for them to tie up the game on like the 2-yard line, and we stopped them. So
That's nice.
Who do they play next?
Steelers,
helped.
I think. What?
I said Andrew totally helped. We stopped them.
That's right. If it wasn't for the fact that I ditched the stream last night and was sitting there watching the entire game, something different would have happened.
Andrew
different-
just sat on the uprights and the ball couldn't get.
In a different reality, we would have lost that game, and it was because I wasn't watching.
That's what trips me out.
Oh, you guys didn't even hear what I said. I'm so glad.
Oh, what'd you say?
I said Andrew was just sitting on the uprights and the ball couldn't get through. That could be. Hey, to be fair, Andrew, that could be any of us. I'm no fucking thin-bodied waif.
It's mean to say of your best friend, man.
Whatever. You and I would be sitting there together.
Oh, thank God, Todd's his best friend now.
I can have more than one best friend, dude.
I'm off the hook.
No. Todd's my best friend. I'm your best friend.
Ooh, that's
No.
even worse, Avery.
No.
And Rommel's just the black guy.
Oh God!
Every group's got to have one. At least
Oh,
one.
Andrew.
You don't say it out loud.
He's not here. You got to say it when he's here.
Oh, well, okay.
You're not
I'd say it to his face.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Well, he told me he was going to try to come by the store last weekend, and he didn't make it. So,
Yeah.
actually, I think
You got a big stack of comics for him?
I think he threatened to kick my ass. So,
Doable.
yeah, but you have to actually show up to do it, and he didn't even
Oh,
show up. So,
Odds of
true.
Rommel showing up are slim.
yeah, I know.
Oh man, did you
So
guys
if
see
he
that?
does, he must really want to beat your ass.
Yeah, unless he really wants to kick your ass, then he'll show up. Did you guys see that? Chuck Dixon's Conan books are going to be developed into an RPG.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Dude, there's some people screeching and losing their minds right now.
Yeah, man. So I had no idea that he actually did a bunch of Conan books. Like he actually did a whole series of them.
No, the only Conans I really pay attention to are the really old Marvel ones for the Buscema art.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he's written a bunch of them. First novel saw Conan participate in the siege of the Black Citadel, a towering fortress that is a key to a civil war between the Mad Emperor Strabonus, I don't know the Conan characters, and his cousin Prince whatever. Conan has to navigate politics while also seeking to find a weak point in the Citadel. Awesome, man. Like, that's actually that sounds like an RPG, so I can totally see that.
Todd, do you have this issue? of Thor 351.
What the hell happened to my? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me. I can't. Let me put it up. Let me put you on the screen. Hold on.
You don't have to. This issue of Thor?
No, I don't.
It's a Walter Simonson issue, and I have 2 copies. So
I would love it.
I'll put one aside for you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple of things to show you later.
Dude, look at that. There's his book.
Oh, cool.
Oh, this is gonna be the RPG. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, it's gonna be a full-on like boxed set. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
And not some little flimsy little paperbacks either.
Oh, it's gonna be the Kickstarters. It's gonna be a Kickstarter too. That's cool. Let's see it. I don't know why it's a Kickstarter, but I'm surprised they're gonna allow it with
Chuck Dixon attached.
Well,
that'll be the test. If
no, what'll happen is it'll get started, it'll get a lot of attention, it'll make a lot of money, and then the bad people will start screaming and hollering, and then they'll shut it down right near the end, and he'll have to start it all over again at Indiegogo.
No,
honestly, they should know better.
Well, it's a possibility.
I'm not so sure because Conan rights are kind of an interesting story. They were held by Marvel for a while, for a long time, but so basically, I mean, all right. So back up a bit. Robert E. Howard, he's been dead since like 1936 or earlier. So his the original Conan stories have passed into the public domain a long time ago. But like I think all the other associated rights, like film, games, and so on, are owned by the people. Are owned by Funcom. The people who put out like Age of Conan, the MMO. That's and also a few other Conan games are out there right now. And they're based in Sweden, so they're not really connected to like all the cultural nonsense in this country. And they apparently took the comic book rights back, and they're publishing it themselves. And apparently I haven't read them yet. From what I've heard, it's actually really true to the original spirit of Conan. So I'd be interested to see if they have any involvement in this. So maybe that he has some protection there.
Yeah, but that's still not going to stop crazy people from being crazy and trying to ruin it because it's Chuck Dixon. They don't care if it's Conan or not. That doesn't make a difference to them. No. It's the fact that Chuck Dixon's attached to it. They're going to scream, holler, yell, and
13 psychopaths on Twitter will lose their mind.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
whether or not they have an effect this time.
I have a feeling that it's not going to happen immediately, but a lot of that woke nonsense is going to start kind of dying down over the next couple of years.
In the comic industry, they're very prevalent.
Well, unfortunately,
they've succeeded in killing people's careers.
Well, that's the thing, though. There really isn't a comic industry left at this point. So,
see, people say that it is so not true. There's still comics being made. There's still comics being sold. There's still comics being collected. Just because everybody says, "Oh, the industry's dying," it's not going away, guys. No, it's not. So,
I'm just saying. I just think that. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is at this point, just wait and see is the best way I would describe it.
Well,
but I will say though that I think creators in general really need an alternative. Really need a funding alternative to Indiegogo or Kickstarter or Patreon. One that is explicitly, politically neutral.
There's already one started.
The blockchain solves this.
Web3.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we went there, right? Like there are some challenges, of course, but I mean, it really. Not only is it you can't stop it, you can't block it, you can't cancel anybody. Like, it's completely independent, so it's really great. It's really, really great. Andrew, you got what? How are you doing, man? How are the comics going? What are you doing? You were like,
I ran out of bags and boards, and some of the comics that I picked up today at a show, I need to bring to the store for at least one customer I know who'd be interested in them. So I'm recycling some bags and boards from a collection I just picked up off of eBay of some old Adventure Comics issues. I bought
Oh,
two.
what do you want to share?
Not right this second. I'm busy doing stuff with them, but they're a bunch of old Adventure Comics, like from these are all 30-cent issues.
Like 70s and 80s.
76, yeah. I bought like a lot, 2 lots. And,
now, okay, I have a question about that. Because
sure.
I've seen these lots on sale on eBay and stuff, and I never do it because it looks like a scam. Because they don't really, a lot of the lots, they just say like random 25 pack of comics.
Right. And they show you a picture of a whole bunch of great looking comics, and then
books.
they tell you they're going to send you 10 of them.
Yeah.
No, I don't do it for that. I bought these from a guy who I have bought slab books from, and I guess he owns a store or something like that in California, and this was one of these were 2 lots of 5 that he put up, and I bid on all 5 of them, and I only won 2 of them. But
2 lots of five books.
No, I think the total was like 35 books or something like that.
That's pretty good.
So, but they're old Adventure Comics, which there's no key issues or anything in here. They're just fantastic looking comics. So a lot of Aquaman in some of these, some Superboys, some really nice books. Yeah, but some of them might be worth getting graded. I haven't gone through them all yet, but some of them might be worth getting graded just to have them graded. I think people. I found people who buy a graded book just because they like the cover. I found other people that buy a graded book just because they want to have a graded book. And then there's other people that buy for investment value, Yeah. And I've got a couple investment books. Nothing huge. I don't have like any $10,000 books or anything, but what I have is, I find them all interesting. But I do have some new slab books to share with you guys. I don't have very many. I only have like 7. But I was telling Avery,
wait. He only has 7, guys.
Well, in the past I've had 20 or 30 at a time.
Not many. Yeah, you're slacking.
No, I've been letting auctions go. I haven't been fighting for them. I've just been letting them go. So honestly, I gotta build back up my my reserve.
Have you been selling them?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think. Well, what I did is I went back to my very first CGC slab book that I sold in the store, and I included all those that I had. There was like 4 or 5 of them. To my list of what I spent and what I've made, and to date I've spent about $6,000, and I've already made back about $1,200. Great. And I still have a whole store filled with books. So
you're only in the whole $4,800.
Yeah, well, you gotta spend money to make money. So that's what I'm doing.
It's just true.
But yep.
Awesome, man. That's really cool.
But I do have some books to share this evening. One of them has a story behind it if you guys want to hear it. If not, it's not a big deal. Sure. But one of them is a grail of mine, a personal grail, and it is not going to the store.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, I know you're going to share later once you're done with your
long shot number 1.
I already have long shot number 1. This is a new issue that as a kid I could never.
Long shot number 2.
As a kid, I could never afford. But I got a copy, and I paid. Honestly, I paid dirt cheap for it. It's not the great. It's a 6.5, but I don't care. It's an issue that I never had as a kid and never could afford.
Force number 1.
He's had that.
Yeah, I've had that.
Graded?
He gave it to me.
Not graded.
Graded.
No, this is a comic that I've only ever read in reprints, so I've read it before, but I've never owned a copy in any condition.
The Wolverine, the Hulk with the Wolverine on the cover.
I've had that before. I had that as a kid.
I think I have a beat up copy somewhere. Like it's bad beat up.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's so funny? Hey, remember how I showed you that I bought that collection from my brother-in-law's friend, which included that Wolverine number 88, which is the first, meeting of Deadpool and Wolverine in the comics. I bought a collection this weekend that had a copy of issue number 88 as well. So I was like, hot damn! So now I have 2 copies of that issue.
2 copies.
Now I got to hurry up and get them graded because the movie coming out will probably make that issue go up even more in value. So,
oh my gosh!
And I have 2 copies, so I'm happy.
Hey guys, did you know that the Marvels is opening for my birthday?
Oh, fantastic! Are you going to go see it?
Fuck no.
You're going to buy that new Green Lantern comic, right? About the original Green Lantern?
Alan Scott?
Yeah, in the 40s. Mm-hmm.
Didn't it tell how like he came out of the closet or something?
Yeah. And if you don't buy it, you're a bigot.
Literally. So, for those that don't know, they one of the problems like modern comics has is that they've literally canonically set up that pretty much every major character and sub character and side character is something other than heterosexual. And it wouldn't be a problem having it like here or there, or hell, it wouldn't even be a problem if they had good stories. But they just do these stories where it's like a light switch. Like they just change, and there's no story to it. It's just terrible. It's absolutely horrible writing, and it basically just wrecks the character.
And one of the absolute worst of that happening is with the character of Iceman. Iceman's been around for 50 some odd years.
Yep. That was terrible.
He's been in heterosexual relationships with girls for all that time. And
he was a womanizer. That was his character.
Well, he wasn't a womanizer. He was a good kid. He wasn't a womanizer.
He was a skirt chaser, big
but
time.
Yeah, he had to keep up with the other boys. So, but they came out and said, "Oh, by the way, you're gay." And all of a sudden, not only was he gay, he was the most flamboyant, stereotypical gay character to the extreme. I mean, even to the point where there were several comics where he had to go home and fight with his parents over his sexuality, and it's like, oh my freaking God.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
They literally destroyed the character and took a lot of glee in doing it.
Well, then they had a whole storyline, and I don't remember who the bet was. It Sinister? Some villain came up and froze him, like or shattered him or something. Basically killed him, like legitimately killed him. And then the Iceman that is now there is now a clone, because the original Iceman is dead.
Well, everybody is clones nowadays.
Right. Well, that's the other problem they have. So tell Andrew, can you fill in Dusty? Because I'd be curious, and Zach, because especially Dusty, because like I'm curious as someone who doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about right now, like in terms of like understanding a storyline from a logic standpoint. Like what Dusty's a logical dude, so I'm curious what he would think.
Well, early on in X-Men comics, there was it wasn't really a villain. It was a planet called Krakoa, and it was like a living planet. Well, in the modern storyline, they have it was an island, not a planet, an island. Yeah. Well, in the current modern X-Men, they live on the island of Krakoa. I'm saying it wrong.
Krakoa.
Krakoa, yes.
Krakoa.
And part of the reason why they're there is because there's like these rejuvenation pods that if one of the X-Men dies, they can resurrect them by cloning them and bringing them and putting all their memories into the new body. And they literally have cheated death. And so when they go out on adventures, if somebody dies, it's like, oh, all right, well, we'll back them up when we get back home. It's no big deal. That was literally the storyline. And they recently, that whole thing is coming to an end, from what I understand, that whole storyline. But it's been going on for years now. And so there has been no consequences whatsoever. And you guys may have heard the story about how Miss Marvel, who is Kamala Khan, she's the one on the left in that picture, how in the comics she recently died. Well, she was resurrected because it was found out that she was a mutant, and somehow they brought her back on Krakoa. So that's how she came back to life like a month later. Yeah. So it was no long-term Gwen Stacy death where she's dead for years and years and years and years.
But
they literally brought her back in her own series the next month.
The problem that I have with this, from a storytelling standpoint, is that clones are clones.
Right.
Like the original character, they've murdered the original characters in canon. So all of the main Wolverine, Cyclops, all of them, they've all been killed.
I don't think Wolverine's been killed.
I think he has.
I don't think so.
No?
So
I know
wait,
Cyclops has. I know Cyclops has.
They've all been killed.
Wolverine.
Regardless, a large majority of the main characters in the MCU that are mutants have been killed and resurrected, quote unquote, as clones, meaning they're dead.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, in Star Trek, their transporter technology literally destroys a body to its atoms, shoots it like light speed down to a planet, and then reassembles them. Each and every single time they teleport, they're dying and coming back to life.
Yeah, but it's the same atoms. Dusty?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So just so I'm clear, so they're cloned, and then when they come back, they're like a different flavor?
No,
is that what's happening?
Krakoa, for some reason, if you're in Krakoa, it's constantly backing up your memories in your mind.
Okay.
So when you die, they just reset you to the last time you were saved. It's literally like a computer, the last save point.
That's a terrible idea.
It is a horrible, terrible idea. Yes. There you go.
Last known good. Your last known gooding super. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, well, it's coming to an end from what I understand.
I don't understand why Iceman couldn't reconstitute himself.
Because how do they all become gay? I'm confused.
A good writer would be able to bring him back at any time. Avery, a good writer would.
See, they all went. They all went to the best liberal art colleges.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters.
Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters.
Okay.
How did they all turn gay, guys?
It was the frogs. The frogs did it to them.
Oh.
No, it's the other way around.
The frogs made them gay. The gay frogs turned them gay.
The cyber frogs turned them gay.
Literally, Dusty, there's no logic to it. One has nothing to do with the other. It's just bad writers.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have anything to write about.
They don't have another idea, so they're just like, that's their go-to these days.
Probably. Okay. Honestly, I think at this point, if the canon's this effed up, the only thing that's probably going to save them is like a terminal reboot. I mean, literally just have a giant, basically have Galactus arrive, eat everything, and then like have a heart, and then basically like blow, then basically like disintegrate into nothingness, and then poof, everything everything restarts, from the right, they literally just restarted from Reed Richards launching a spaceship, and the X-Men getting together and all the rest.
Oh, it'd be like, oops, our bad. We got confused in the multiverse. All this stuff you hated, it wasn't the 616. We messed up. We've been telling you the stories from the 615. Sorry. We're just going to start telling. We're going to start telling. This is what's been going on in the 616. We made a mistake. We've been telling you the wrong universe's stories.
Yeah, it's more like a 404.
Exactly. From the 404 universe.
Honestly, guys, I don't think it's going to help because for reasons
nothing can help, and that's the reason I don't care anymore. I just don't want to make fun of it.
Honestly, look, my view regarding Marvel comics is the same as Marvel movies and really Star Wars. They're running out of steam. They're out of juice. I mean, I think something to consider about all these really stupid, and I hate to use this term woke, but it really applies here. I think part of it, yes, is because it's all this political bullshit, and they're trying to. Basically, the people running Marvel forgot that they're running a business, that they're running an entertainment business, and they were more concerned about what people at the cocktail parties they wanted to be invited who thought about them. So they started basically started hiring, and also so they basically started hiring. They got rid of all their old writers who were getting old and too expensive, and basically hired a bunch of Tumblerinas, and basically failed young adult writers to from Ivy League schools to make them relevant and diverse and all the other buzzwords and all that nonsense. But I think there was another factor behind it as well, which is they're really running out of ideas. I mean, there's only how many times can you retell the same story over and over and over? I mean, I'm more of a DC guy, but I mean, with DC it's even more blatant because how many times can you retell? How many times can Krypton get blown up, or how many times can Joe Chill shoot, Martha Thomas and Martha Wayne? I mean, it's how many variations on the theme can you make before you start repeating yourself? I mean, for example, I'm sorry from rambling on. Like the big scandal du jour about Superman last year was that Superman's son turned out to be gay. All right, but the thing is that Superman's had a son of one sort or another going back to the 70s. So, and I think there's really the idea was, what stories can we tell about Superman's son, whatever he's called, that we didn't tell back in the Silver Age or the Golden or like back in the 90s. So I think part of it's wokeness, part of it's just desperation that these properties are running out of steam.
Well, I hate to say it, but in order to sell comics, they find that they've got to get themselves written about in the mainstream media. And the biggest, fastest, easiest way to do that is to make a significant character become part of another group.
Yeah, they run on insulin.
They get news. They get clicks. They get buzz.
Well, I'll tell you about that too. I have a little insight on that. But MK says in comics you're not really dead unless you've lost your contract. That's very true. It is very true. But yeah, like on that point, like when I was there, we had a lot of reporters, aka reporters, like people at different news outlets who I mean, it was really incestuous. Like they were super fans of Marvel, and like the kind of in joke at Marvel was that they probably just wanted to be writers at Marvel. Like they just wanted to write the books, and so they like had writers at USA Today and Newsweek and whatever. And so whenever they wanted to put it out, they would just go write. I mean, it makes sense. They would just go to the friendly reporters who would write the article for them. And so they would get front page coverage on the entertainment section whenever they wanted. But to Andrew's point, like, at a certain point, you don't, if the story isn't that good or the story isn't newsworthy, you have to create the news, and creating yet another first, quote unquote first, in tying it to some kind of political agenda is really, it's really low hanging fruit. And it has diminishing returns. Like I actually think it has a negative effect. They get the headline, but what do you get the headline for? You know what I mean? Like, what's the reaction to the headline? Like, the people that are going to say, "Oh my God, that's awesome," are not the people that buy the books. And so the people that buy the books see that, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you injecting politics into my fucking entertainment?" And then they like slowly but surely. I mean, it just shows. It shows in my opinion, it shows the strength of the Marvel brand, that it's been able to last this long doing what it's doing. Because most any other brand that did half the shit that they did would have been gone years ago, like without question.
Well, something interesting else to consider is, I mean, the average age of the Marvel reader is really our age, maybe a little bit younger. I mean, but the younger readers, they're not reading Spider-Man and Superman. You can't, if you go to local bookstores, they're buying manga. They're not buying comic books or graphic novels. So I think, and if you look at the comic books and graphic novels, if you look at the mangas, I think one of the reasons why they're succeeding is that they're not trying to appeal to everyone. I mean, or or rather they select a target audience and they write for that. And if there's another audience that they're trying to reach, they'll write another story for that. There's no sense that they're trying to like gather in everybody, and or trying to make a statement by someone being the first something or someone in the universe. Because if they wanted to do that, they'll just write a story for that group that's totally unrelated. You got that show One Piece that just came out, which is based on a manga, and it was actually like an actual live action Western version of a manga that was done right. I haven't seen it because honestly I can't stand. I'm not a manga fan, even though I am half Japanese.
I could not get through 5 minutes of that show.
Well,
we started to watch it and we just couldn't do it.
The thing that's I'm like beating my head on the wall is that the reason why manga is basically eating the American comic audience alive is because they have no real competition. Because they're well, first off, they do a lot of things. They do a lot of things right when it comes to the business. As far as how they publish and how they market, and making it easier for people to get in. But let's be honest, most of these stories, like One Piece, Demon Hunter, Attack on Titan, and all on, these are Japanese stories that were written with Japanese audiences in mind. Then they were translated into English and they found an audience because they're good stories. But when you read the English translations, it's pretty obvious that the cultural context that they were written in is completely different. And, you look at One Piece. Yeah, you said you can't get through it because it's childish, it's hokey. It's really exaggerated. But that's what Japanese popular culture is like. If you go to Japan, that's what you're going to see. But it doesn't really translate to an American audience to a Western audience because we expect to see things. But the younger readers who basically come into this young, they're not going to feel the same way because they grew up with this. So their tastes are going to be shaped by that. And it just, I'm boggling my head thinking, American comic companies, if you just, you don't have to like copy their style. You don't have to copy, their storytelling style, their art or whatever. You just got to like write good stories and make them easily accessible, and put them in front of your readers. And that audience will come back because at the end of the day, a story that's written for an American audience in mind will get American readers if it's entertaining, and it can be gotten into just like not by having to like learn like 30 years of past continuity, but just like picking, okay, here's volume 1, start here, proceed to volume 20, story ends there, enjoy,
Right.
give us your money. But
yeah, no, 100%.
Also, if the American readers realize, what, instead of trying to pander to like me, at least we're going to pander to our audiences. We're gonna learn who our audience is. We're not going to try to write for everybody. We're going to like segment. Okay, here's segment number 1: young male readers. What do they want? Give it to them. Here's segment number 2: young female readers. What do they want? Let's ask them. Okay, now we know. Let's create something for them. Okay, kiddies, here's volume number 1. Have at it. But that would actually require people who actually realize that they're running a business and not fighting the revolution, but whatever revolution that might be. So anyway, rant over. Sorry to take up so much time.
No, man, that's what it's for, dude. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. And that's why I continue to say that the stuff that we're doing and like the stuff that other people are doing in the space is really the future. It really is the attention economy. And for whatever reason, Marvel and DC and these corporate companies don't have the attention anymore. Or I should say that they do, or they would, but they're voluntarily giving up the attention.
Maybe it's
right.
Also because like the big two, we're talking about Marvel and DC. I think maybe part of the trouble is that because they're not independent. They're Marvel's part of Disney and DC's owned by whoever owns Warner's at this point. It's kind of always up in the air. So they're always kind of like the afterthought, to bigger projects. I mean, Disney's not going to care about the comic books. To them, Marvel's like movies and all the stuff they can sell out of the movies. DC is like the next Superman movie, which looks like that might not actually happen. But I don't know. And look, if you look at Image, so I'm thinking, what about like the other publishers like Image or Dynamite or whoever else? I mean, they're not owned by any big conglomerate. How are they surviving? Or are they not surviving?
Well, Image is a very fortunate. Image is a very fortunate company in that, like, they don't make money. Like, the way they make money is by recouping the cost of printing, basically. So they get their take first. So their goal is to kind of break even, right? Like, they have a certain number of employees, but technically they're not supposed to grow because they get a percentage of the sales, and they recoup their cost. But it's really creator centric. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. Look, I want to like manga, I do, but I'm not a 14-year-old boy, or a 40-year-old Japanese salaryman.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
But you could be if you tried really hard.
Yeah, you can do an entire book of Image and not make a dime.
Yeah, most people don't.
No, never saw a dime.
Well, let me ask you something.
Well, that's more because of maybe the people you were working with.
Well, so let me ask you guys something. So I watched your boy Zach. Your boy Zach's videos from time to time, and he made a point. I think maybe like a few months ago that there were a lot of like comic book startups or new companies who were founded not because they started putting out comic books not to just to sell comics, but as a way to leverage that towards movie deals with Netflix. They put together they create a character, they put out a couple of books, and then they approach a studio and say, hey, listen, we got this, it's ready made for a movie. Will you give us money for it? Was that ever actually a viable business strategy, or is that just just another internet rumor?
There were lots of creators that were doing that. There were every other week there was a time on Twitter where a creator would come out and say, my book just got optioned for this or that, and then nothing ever comes of it. So it was very common for people just to get the buzz that they got their books optioned. Whether or not anybody ever took it any further than that, it didn't really happen. It didn't happen that often. There's some stuff that's been optioned, and still hasn't been made. There's
because optioning means just that. It gives them the option to do something with it or not.
Right.
I have a feeling now that the next gold rush is probably going to be Western live action remakes of versions of popular mangas, because they tried it with Cowboy Bebop, and as someone who like watched the anime, and I always watched with subtitles, never dubbed. I was like beyond insulted. I was just kind of like baffled. It's like, seriously, who thought this was a good idea?
They butchered Death Note first.
I'm not.
Was Death Note bad?
The live action
it was
garbage.
Yeah, they did a bad job on that.
I heard at one point there was like a live action Akira in the works, like starring Kristen Stewart, but I don't know whatever happened to that. Probably died in the vine.
Although I think the live action Ghost in the Shell gets more hate than it deserves.
Well, yeah, but
I didn't see it because it got hate, and then I started hearing that it was actually pretty good.
Watch it; it's cool.
Well, it's Scarlett Johansson. You put her in a bathrobe reading the phone book, and she'll make something out of it. But
Battle Angel Alita was good.
It was.
Yeah. But the thing is, look, they had like OneNote, or was it One Piece, OneNote, whatever it's called, One something.
One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece.
Hey, hold on, real quick, guys. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
No,
Yes.
no, everything's
Right.
good. Everything's good.
Whatever
Everything's
rules Todd has, we'll be breaking them.
All right. All right,
Breaking
guys.
the rules.
All right, guys. Start making your racist and inappropriate jokes now.
No, I'm still here. Don't do that.
Shut up, writer. Nobody wants to hear from you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, just kidding.
All right, well, you know what? Then I'm just going to go to bed. Have a nice day.
So sad. So sad that you take me seriously.
I take everyone seriously. That way I can be pleasantly surprised. But no. So anyway, so here's a bit of news that you guys might find interesting. It is now Biketoberfest in beautiful Daytona Beach.
Okay.
So it's like Bike Week. It's like Bike Week but compressed. So there are a lot of bikers riding around, making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But apparently tomorrow there's going to be a burlesque at a local club, which I intend to see.
Oh, okay.
Because the last time I saw a burlesque was at Coney Island in New York, and it really didn't impress. Because it apparently was fish themed. So it was a fish themed burlesque. So which basically involved like a bunch of people wearing like a bunch of women in like lingerie, like flopping about with trying to dance with like flippers on their feet.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is about as disappointing and off-putting as it sounds.
I think it would have to be.
Yeah. Although one of my goals being in Florida is to go to like the Wiki Watchy mermaid show.
I have no idea what that is.
I do not know what that is.
Seriously, you live in Florida and you don't know about the mermaid shows?
Nope.
Okay, so
Not something I ever searched out. So
it's women wearing like mermaid tails swimming underwater.
what's the thrill of that?
It's like women wearing mermaid tails swimming underwater. It's
The definition still doesn't help. I mean, I can visually see it, but I don't see why anybody would. Is that something you pay for?
yes, it's something you pay for.
They're mermaids, Drew. They're mermaids.
Mermaids.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it.
Andrew. No, you know what?
Yes, Zach. You have to remember, I live in a bubble.
Yeah.
If you had to have sex with a mermaid, would you want to have sex with a mermaid where the top half is a woman,
Look, guys,
and the bottom half is a fish, or a
I've been-
mermaid where the top
Okay.
the bottom half is a woman?
Look, guys, I've been huffing resin fumes all day, so I'm a little lightheaded. All right.
I'm just saying that's the real question.
But anyway, can I show you guys something?
I don't necessarily know if that's the real question. It is a real question. I just don't know if it's the real
It's
question.
the question.
Okay.
It's the question I'm posing to everyone right now.
Well, what's it?
I used to have an important job.
What?
Moderating this chat?
No,
What's that, Zach?
I was asking if I could show you guys something, but I'll wait until Todd gets back.
Oh. Is it a penis? You might want to show that before Todd gets back.
No, it's not.
No.
It is
No
not
showing
a
of
piece
peni.
milk area.
Is it shaped like a penis?
It's
That's a yes.
Wow.
Everything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Okay.
Stop talking, Avery.
Okay.
Did you kick Avery? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
He's been
right.
trying for a while.
all right. It's this. You see this?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever said the D word out loud, so that's a new one, Avery.
All right. Hold on.
Oh my.
All right, do you see my screen?
No.
Hello.
It's like what?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, we see you now.
It's this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and that's
It looks
one
like
you
a
made
puzzle
yourself.
No, this is actually like the test item that was on my Elegoo Mars 3 resin printer.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Little spire.
it is inspired, and I have got a box full of headless men who are supposed to be Roman auxiliary archers because I'm in the wargaming, and
Okay.
got a bunch of others, drying out on the drying out right now.
Oops. Oops. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
It's all right, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is actually pretty interesting. I mean, resin printers are really more designed for like artistic stuff,
Uh-huh.
but they're using things like this to like basically make bombs in Ukraine that drop on which drop from drones on Russian tanks.
And we would never do that.
No, because we're
Dear FBI agent listening, we would never ever.
because we're unimaginative and we're led. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to talk politics, but no, I mean, look, this is because if we're doing a role playing game, this we could use this as a way to create action figures. So think about it, it's like back in the old days, if you wanted to like make an action figure, you'd have to like what like basically like contract out to Mattel and hope they actually sold it. But we could use this to like create like a heinous sculpture. Like we'd have to actually have to sculpt it. Sculpt the file, create, like export it. But once that's done, we could like literally, using a high grade 3D printer, create like a giant sculpture of Heinous in all his veiny glory.
See, Heinous would become the first in many lines of adult fantasies, self-pleasure toys.
Yeah, but no, seriously though, I mean, but did we just lose Andrew?
No. Andrew was kicked.
He kicked him.
Why did you kick Andrew?
He's talking about the heinous dildo.
Yes.
See, and I didn't even say dildo.
No, but guys, seriously, you know how
Adult
You know
fantasy, it's exactly what you think.
yeah,
God, yes, it is.
yes, it is. But seriously, you know how there are people. There's a company that actually makes like Masters of the Universe like sculptures. They're called like Masters of the Universe Masters, something like that. And
Didn't Gentle Giants do a line of Masters of the Universe like sculptures at one point?
yeah. But the thing is, we could do that too. But with 3D printing, at some point, we could like literally just put if like for example, we could do like Stanwell or the I'm forgetting the names of our characters now, but
Wouldn't somebody have to create a 3-dimensional file of the characters
yes,
first?
they would have to do that, and then it would have to be converted to an SDD file, and then
Does anybody here know how to do that, or can they do that?
Well, let's ask Todd. He probably knows somebody. He might know somebody, and if not, I mean, there are ways to do it. And
I think Flint is an expert at that.
Oh yeah.
Flint.
Who?
Right? Well, seriously, I mean, it's something we could consider. Maybe as a special treat to like, fans. But of course, we'd have to, it would have to be painted though. It couldn't just be, or better yet, we could sell like the STL files, or offer the STL files to like fans so they can print out their own.
Avery, your own personal Heinous action figure for the ladies.
Bet.
Can I have one too?
Yeah.
What?
I have one too.
Dusty's secret is secret no more.
Yeah. So, Avery, once we get offline, I want to get your opinion about something else related to 3D printing as regards to the Second Amendment, but not while we're live.
I bet you I know what he's referring to.
Yeah.
No,
Can't stop
Anyway,
the signal.
Andrew, show us some comics or something.
Yes, please.
I'm almost ready.
All right.
Just
Hey, Andrew,
yes.
do you remember the old Vampirella comics from the 90s?
Uh-huh.
No, just wondering if you remember that.
Of course.
There was like a lot of, there was a lot of cheesecake being put out back then. I remember it.
Oh yeah. There was the whole bad girl craze. That happened.
Oh yeah. Billy Tucci was a rock star during then, man. Was she?
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
He was huge.
All right, what's taking that? So, no,
He's dealing with children.
yeah. No.
I am so glad I don't have to do that anymore. You guys have no idea how awesome it is not to have to deal with that anymore.
No. Now you just get to be a grandpa, which means you can spoil them rotten and undo your kids' hard work and disciplining them.
I'm looking forward to being grandpa. Actually, I had a conversation with my wife. What did I pick? Oh crap! My parents and my in-laws, they picked their names. Like my mom wanted to be Nana, and my grandparents were just Ma and Pa, and my dad is Grandpa, and then on my wife's side it was Abu, which is short for Abuela, and Pop Pop was my father-in-law's name for the kids. Sometimes the kids give them their names, and sometimes they choose their names. Like my mother-in-law chose Abu, and my mother chose Nana. And I always made fun of them because Nana is the name of the dog in Peter Pan, and Abu was the name of the monkey in Aladdin. So
Right.
I told them that.
It has come to my attention that you guys have been talking about dildos and 3D printing guns.
No, not
once did well.
Well, no.
Avery-
All I know is that I saw Avery get kicked, and then I saw Andrew get kicked.
Look,
And I didn't even say the D word.
no, you did, but you can.
Dildo's not banned.
Todd, what we were discussing is, I was showing him like this little 3D printed thing I put out.
Yeah, I saw it. The Rook. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's like literally the test piece for my Elegoo Mark III.
Mm-hmm.
They sent you the file to do it, but I'm printing on my own stuff now. But you know how like there are companies that like do like high detail sculptures of like Masters of the Universe and other characters like
Sure.
maybe so I'm thinking, what if we did that using 3D printing?
Mm-hmm.
You certainly
certainly can. People do it all the time.
for example, like let's take a character, not heinous, because that just that way leads to madness. Let's just say Carl.
MK Cronus had a good point that we actually already had 344, at least done as a model.
Yep.
That we showed at one point.
Well, why don't we like?
I got him over here. He was printed.
So maybe what we could do is two things. Like maybe like for example, we take like Carl, like the character of Carl, or Beelzebubby, and for like as a special treat, or maybe for like $1 million or whatever, you can get a 3D printed high detail painted like 12-foot statue of of the character.
12? You mean 12 inches?
12-inch character. Probably more like 6-inch character. Given the limitations of technology. Yeah, 12-inch statue.
16 with heinous, right?
Yeah, and which with its own NFT authentication. We could like even like engrave the NFT code in the base of the statue. So along with like the official certificate, or better yet, Or
I know.
better yet,
Go ahead. I'll say MK is saying Xometry and Proto Labs for 3D.
yeah.
Yeah, because I know MK actually knows a lot about this.
So-
I was actually
Well-
you know, we used to do a lot of SLA printing, and in fact Clint does a lot. He's has a history of doing 3D printing for like engineering stuff. He's
Yeah.
Clint, if you haven't guessed, is a pretty good engineer.
Well,
But he's done but like I've always been like and maybe MK actually probably knows more than I do about this, but like we did a lot of SLA printing. I haven't used like a form printer, like the form, I guess the form 2 is out, but the form printer is always like kick ass because they basically like when you do SLA, which is stereolithography, like it actually you actually get a really smooth print as opposed to like a stair step print, right? Like it basically solidifies based on heat and lasers versus
that's
a nib.
that's what I have in my kitchen right now. That's what
Nice. You have a form printer?
Yeah, I have like a resin. I have a 3D printer. I have a resin 3D printer. It uses it's an SLA. I believe it's an SLA printer. It uses resin, and it forms it using ultraviolet light through an LCD screen. But
Nice.
So what I'm thinking is, we could like maybe sell it, maybe like offer the statue as a tchotchke or as a tchotchke or collectible with its own NFT, or since we're putting out the RPG, and we can like offer character create STL files, like a limited number of STL files with like locked behind with secured by an NFT, and you can get it and print out say I'm not going to say the H word, but
H word.
you could print out, for example, the primordial, or of course you'd have to have a 3D printer, but
Well, what MK is saying is like, so I just looked it up. So Xometry is manufacturing on demand. And it's like full on engineering. So they've done stuff with NASA, Dell, Bosch, BMW. So they're like legit manufacturing. And then Proto Labs, I should share this, but Proto Labs also does manufacturing. I'm just looking at the website for the first time, but MK says that I guess Xometry and Proto Labs for the 3D. So like either or, I guess. They do. He says they do our proto prints when we need them in special materials like HTP, etc. Otherwise, I print our stuff on a Prusa. Oh, nice.
All right. Well, it's something to consider. I mean, going forward.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely in the cards. I mean, one of the things that's been a little bit of a challenge for us is that I started off with toys. Like these are all toys. Like we did, they're rotocast vinyl, and we've done resin pieces. I have a box over here with some resin prototypes. The older stuff, they weren't done on like Form 1 or SLA. It was more it wasn't MakerBot, but it was basically the equivalent. It was like there were dimension printers, which are huge and they're really good, but they're still kind of stair-steppy stuff. But like, yeah, it's very tempting, and we're definitely moving into it. We actually talked. We were in talks with like a couple of people for toy manufacturing, so it's still in the cards. It's definitely still in the cards. It's really more right now a matter of like audience scale and like making sure that we can do it. You know what I mean? Because the only challenge is it's really simple to print one. It's really difficult to print 1,000. Right. So you really have to, once you start thinking about scale, or you start thinking about packaging or how you want to display it, it becomes a little more complicated. It still can be done. Like I'm 100% like, dude, this is something I have one of my nerds, like, those vinyls are super popular. Like one of my kind of nerds is I'm a packaging nerd. So you can't see it because it's at the top, but I have like a bag full of like box designs and toy box designs. And like I found these at Ollie's actually, and I loved it. Like the it's super cheap, so I don't like the like they could have done a better job on the visual, but like check this out. And this is the kind of stuff that I kind of collect. This stuff as like ideas, right? So you've got your it's almost like a little blister pack where you've got the comic in the back, and then you've got the toy in the front, right? Now this wasn't done that well. Like there's it's really cheap. They didn't do any good like design or anything. It's kind of really a little cheap, but the layout, the shape, the form factor of this is really cool, right? So I love this kind of stuff because I love seeing like how people are putting objects together. So I'm 100% down with figuring this stuff out. It's all in the plans, and we're going to do it. It's just a matter of like when. And I have thought like I will tell you this. So I know we're dealing with like a lot of different guys groups here. Hold on, I'll just say this. I know we're dealing with like a lot of different groups. You guys might not be super familiar with Web3, but I know MK is, so he'll get it. I know Dusty is. Did Dusty might have he took a break, but with the success, so we've been experimenting. I'm not gonna show it right now, but we've been experimenting with YouTube channels. We're starting to experiment with other avenues of bringing people into our world. And one of the reasons one of the things that we're looking to do is like, you have these other teams out there, like you've got a group, a project or a company called Pudgy Penguins, which is like one of the top projects, right? And the thing that they do a lot of things right, and they do a lot of things right. The guy who's running it, in my opinion, is like a marketing maven. Like he's an elite marketer. He's a young kid, but he's really whip smart. Also, in my opinion, does some things wrong, but that's just personal opinion. He's on all metrics right now, he's kicking ass. But one of the things that I found interesting was MK says, Pudgy with Walmart is pretty brilliant. Yeah, I think in the short term it's brilliant. That's actually something that I kind of disagree with in terms of a long-term play, but I could totally be wrong, right? Like I'll go back to that comment in a minute, because that's actually one of the things I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Like but yeah, that dude's wicked smart, and no knock on him. Like that guy's killing it. Like he's an absolute, I have no problem. I've been in marketing for a long time. That kid is an elite marketer. He's really fucking good. But like one of the things that I do like that he did is that early on when he bought the company, he started pushing like hardcore social in different avenues, right? Like he did Giphy, he did like 1,500 Giphy posts with animated characters. So now you always see a penguin whenever you type in something to do GIF, put your GIF on. He did they blew up an Instagram account with like 1 million followers now, things like that. One of the reasons they can do that is because if you look at Instagram and you look at the trends, especially Instagram and even with like some Facebook stuff, like cute sells really well for that type of thing. We don't really have cute characters. We've got action hero stuff. So we've been playing with like different versions and kind of seeing what we could do and kind of like how we can bring in our own characters into that same kind of.
Are you going to make chibi versions of your characters?
I actually did think about that for Instagram. Yeah, I actually.
Okay.
Well,
I
actually thought of only focusing on Heinous and Subdued for the chibi for a chibi or kawaii Instagram account. But yeah, like I think it could be. Well, we're doing a lot of things that are interesting, and we're getting some good traction on some of the experiments we're doing. The RPG obviously is in there as well. But yeah, like I think a Heinous chibi Instagram account would actually blow the fuck up. So I'm playing with it right now. We'll see. I gotta mess with it. But yeah, I think just going. I mean, it's a little sidebar, but I do think like them doing the Pudgy Penguin thing in Walmart is a brilliant move when you first think about it. But I wonder there's a problem in that Walmart is not necessarily where you want to start, it's where you want to end up. And so there's a little bit of a problem of maybe too early, like kind of trying to hit mass market too early, because Walmart, I mean, I've had stuff in Walmart, and like Walmart is where you go when you recognize products. Like you go down the toy aisle and you know all the products, right? It's not really a place for discovery. The place when you try to be discovered in Walmart, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, it can kind of burn it out and kind of pass it by. Like Allegiance Comics, okay, right? When Alliance Allegiance, what was it? What's Red Rooster? Andrew, Avery,
Allegiance.
Just trying
Are they
to get
still doing?
the-
Are they still in Walmart? Are they still
No.
doing that thing?
No. Oh, dude, you didn't hear?
Mm-mm.
The business part will take the money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard that part.
Heaven
Yeah.
forbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're gone, right? Like they
Yeah,
didn't.
they're
The Walmart thing kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's a little. Like the one thing that I know, especially with working with IPs, and it's a different thing. I'll be straight up. Like we're a story brand that's a character brand, right? That's what they're doing is way more in line with Hello Kitty and I guess like Snoopy is now a character brand, especially in Japan. Like that stuff is it's a different kind of play, but the one thing that's kind of that floats across the different types of brands, like, is that it's not about basically we're not in the selling business, we're in the falling in love business. Like our job is to get people to fall in love with the stuff we do, and the way you do that is hard, because the appropriate way to have a long standing brand, it's like 1,000 points of contact. It's like you do like little cultural things thousands of times, to the point where it becomes one with culture, and so it becomes indistinguishable from culture. Meaning like Snoopy's been doing this great. Like Snoopy is now like a high-end brand. It's not like the Peanuts brand is no longer just like Charles Schultz in like comic strips. Like it's on like really high-end designer goods and jewelry, and it's kind of moved into that Hello Kitty thing. But the reason it's been able to do that is because for the last like decade, that team who's in charge of that brand now has been like inserting the brand in really strategic points across all of popular culture, especially in like Europe and Japan. So it's a little, I guess it's not a big deal as long as Luca gets that he's made a decision to be a toy brand, right? As long as he knows that he's a toy brand, and like he's not like, it's really hard to ride the line. Like they launched like these really gorgeous jackets that are like high-end culture jackets, like really beautiful cut and sew. That's a different type of brand than getting your stuff in Walmart. So you can't, at least in the short term, it's really difficult to do both, right? To be like, hey, we're in Walmart, also we've got a $500 bomber jacket. Like, it's a little difficult to ride that. So that would be my only thing is like, well, he's making a decision, and that's fine. I think it might be a little early. The hardest thing with these brands is to say no, because a lot of people come and a lot of people want to work with you, and you have to be really strategic about when you put these things out and where you put them out. It's very difficult. But he's also kicking ass, and like, I can't say anything against him. He's kicking ass. So MK says, looked like he was doing it to short track the kids' video programs to get the brand recognition. Yeah, the problem is I guess the challenge is like, it's not like people don't recognize a brand, they're recognizing a penguin, right? And so like they don't say, oh, it's holy shit, that's Pudgy Penguins. We do, Like if you notice, everyone on Twitter that we see is like in crypto being like, I just bought the floor, and it's like they're coming out with like, you know, they're supporting what they love and they're buying like, you know, crates full of it. You know, 2 years from now it won't happen, right? It's going to be it's got to move past that, which is fine. Like I just don't know, like I don't know if it's the right move at this point in time. But again, it's also not my space. Like the character brand toy thing is not my thing. I mean, I did a lot of that stuff with Cartoon Network, but I wasn't really like inventing the brand. You know what I mean? So it's a little outside of my wheelhouse, but it is very different. The closest we came was the Blanky Toys, which is a character brand. But we didn't like. We were being strategic, but we kind of stopped short when we had to deal with like logistics and fronting all the cash up front for it. So he certainly can do it. I'm just curious. Like, I think he's going to win in the long run. I'm just really curious to see like how they're going to be able to keep the momentum up and like what happens when the Walmart deal is over. Right? Like, are they going to be able to keep doing more in Walmart and kind of expand out for years? Or is it like, does it kind of blow up and kind of fizzle out like a fad because they went too fast into Walmart to try to get exposure for something that doesn't have a household name? Like I said, the only problem I have really with Walmart is that to go into Walmart, like you want to be Matchbox. Right, like you know that, and so kids go there or people go there to find the thing that they already know. Star Wars, right? Like Star Wars toys, Transformers toys. Like you go to Walmart and you're going to see all that stuff there because you recognize it, right? So to launch your brand through Walmart is a really risky bet, because it also closed doors on certain things, right? There are certain other brands that now may not want to do work with them because of the Walmart connection, or they might not care because they have the crypto connection. I don't really know. It's kind of uncharted territory. That's my 2 cents on it. Like I said, I am absolutely not knocking Luca. Like I'm being nitpicky and kind of being like a what do you call it? Like a couch quarterback, right? Because I think he's done a great job. He really has. Like that dude's on fire. Like the kid is seriously determined, and that honestly is like 90% of it. Like most people are not as determined as people like us, or people like Pudgy, or people like Yuga. People like Wagme, I think, is another group that's really like Wagme Games. I think they're pretty hardcore. Like there's not that many people out there. Block of Horror, I think, is another one that's super hardcore. Like there are not that many Undead Blocks, of course, with like KG, gotta rep. But like there aren't that many projects out there that are that intense that I think really get it. You know what I mean? That's my 2 cents. Anyway.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, the Jags won last night. It was a great game. Edge of your seat thriller. Came down to the last few seconds, 4th and goal for the Saints, and we stopped them. It was great. If you guys haven't watched the highlights, you should. It was a good game.
I don't really. It's sports ball, man. MK says, while I appreciate the 3D printing approach, I still think cards are more our style. Yeah. I think the traditional stuff is too. I definitely think down the road, but I also think when we do toys, it's gonna be because we've built the audience for it, right? And we're still in the building phase. We're still in the marketing phase.
Hey, quick question: where did Dusty go?
He's down there. I don't know. He had someone to take care of. He's here. He's in the green room.
We miss you, Dusty. So many of the things I say is just because I want to watch Dusty's reaction.
This is true. I know.
It's just for Dusty.
Guys,
Some of the things I say is just to get Avery's reaction, and we don't see his face anyway. So,
like I've said many times,
Yeah, but you can feel my hatred.
guys, like I said,
yes, it radiates through the computer.
Guys, like I've said many times, 10 years from now, when Dusty's the next Elon Musk, we're all going to be downing up the stories about how we knew him back when he was still just a young kid coming up. And we're all going to be begging him for money. So be nice to the kid. He's going to outshine us all.
Andrew, how's your Andrew, how you ready to show some possibly show some
Yeah, absolutely.
lab? Well, here
I
I'll
have-
just show this really quick because I find it fascinating. But we've got like, we had the bounding into comics. I don't
Yeah.
even know where this thing is anymore.
A quick question I have for everybody: has anybody ever just basically discovered an old video game that's a classic, but you never played it until like decades later, and you're like, "Wow, this is really fun."
Like what?
Like I've just started because I didn't have a PC back in the day. For the first time, I've played the original Doom.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, I'm loving it. I've been playing Doom and Doom 2 because they're on the Xbox.
It's really good.
Yeah, they've been updated kind of, but it's like the original game, the original graphics, and I freaking love it.
It's really good, man. Let me show you this. It's actually MK says Doom. Yes.
Like I've played some of like Doom Eternal before, but because that's on Xbox Game Pass. But I've recently just like, you know what? I'm just gonna download the original Doom. I never played it back then. I never had a computer back then, so
yes. So here's the thing. I definitely want to see what Andrew's got, but I just want to cover this because I thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
So the Marvel's box office predictions are already in decline, right? They say it's 4-week lead tracking for the film is coming in at 75 million to 80 million. That's a decline of 11% on the low end and 16% on the high end because they originally said it was going to be a $90 million opening. So they went from 90 million to somewhere between 75 and 80 million. This thing is going to crash and burn, man. Like, it's really bad. And then, and it's bad because, it says a 75 million opening weekend would give the Marvels the 6th worst opening weekend in Marvel Cinematic Universe history. It would only be better than Eternals, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger. Really? Ant-Man and the Incredible Hulk. Wow. And if you factor in inflation, the only film at best is Ant-Man, which would see its opening weekend gross clocks in at 74 million. So if you factor in inflation, it's actually one of the worst ever if it opens at 74 or 75 million. And then, like, it's bad because Brie came out and was like, she's disillusioned now with Captain Marvel role and doesn't want to play the part anymore. She doesn't want to play the part anymore, guys. She doesn't.
That's all right. We'll have Miss Marvel and Photon to replace her.
Yeah.
That was
MK says
setting up with this one. So
MK says the Wolfenstein. Avery, have you ever played Wolfenstein?
No, I've never actually played any of those. I don't think.
Oh, they're so good, man. Well, I actually like both, like Wolfenstein, the original, and I played a little bit of the remake, and that was actually pretty cool too.
There's a bunch of. I have Xbox Game Pass, which lets you play a bunch of stuff for free every month. There's tons of games in a library, but Bethesda owns all that stuff now, and Microsoft owns Bethesda now. So
okay.
Tons of Bethesda games and stuff that they own, like Doom and all that, are there. And I might play it. He mentioned Duke Nukem. I did play one of the early Duke Nukems, not the first one, but one of the first ones that was on the original PlayStation. I did play that back when.
Nice. Let's see. This one is Marvel will reportedly scrap more TV shows after Daredevil Born Again. So they scrapped Daredevil Born Again and fired the whole team, right?
I heard about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So apparently the Daredevil Born Again thing, they so first of all, Daredevil didn't get in or Matt Murdock didn't get into his costume until after the 4th episode. And then like the first 4 episodes, I guess the most of it was a courtroom episodic. Like it wasn't like the Netflix show with like a fight, like fighting and like really good action.
Well, the Netflix show already did Born Again.
I know, right?
All the major plot points of Born Again was in the Netflix show. Right. The only way they could redo that is if they, number one, completely changed it.
Yeah.
And screwed it up and made it not Born Again. I thought when they originally announced they were going to do Daredevil Born Again, it's like, wait a minute, they just did that.
I had the same feeling. I was like, wait, that's what the Netflix series was Born Again.
The whole thing about
Some of
him getting completely beat up
Yeah.
and meeting his mother, who was a nun, that was all part of Born Again. Those were all major plot lines in Born Again. They already did it.
Yeah.
That's how stupid and disconnected they are from the source materials. They make an announcement that we're going to make this new show, and they don't realize we already did it.
Yeah.
And did it pretty damn good, because those seasons of Daredevil were pretty awesome.
Those seasons of Daredevil were
death of
badass.
Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wasn't Born Again. That was Guardian Devil, you know?
I know. They're stupid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but they probably
could have gone further in Matt Murdock's life with the title for the show.
Yeah, but they would probably have to pay Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada a nice big chunk of change to do Guardian Devil, you know?
Yeah.
Oh well.
So I guess
but Guardian Devil also, one of the big major storylines or major characters in that was Mysterio. You know, he was the guy behind the whole storyline, and that's a Spider-Man character. Period.
Yep.
So
yeah, totally.
It's probably one of the reasons.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. The other thing they're saying is like, not only do they scrap Born Again, but they're going to be scrapping. I guess they had a Wonder Man thing in production.
Yeah, he was supposed to be introduced in one of the recent movies, and he wasn't.
Yeah. They let go of everybody on the Daredevil thing. They really messed up Daredevil. I don't know, man.
There's a dozen other Daredevil stories that they could do.
Oh yeah, completely.
But they put him in She-Hulk and made him dumb. See, there he is, right there. Dumb.
Yeah, he doesn't look good at all.
One of the auctions I won this evening, guys, a 9.6 copy of the first issue of Aliens vs. Predator.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, look at this! Look at this.
Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, look at that.
Crazy Uncle Bill.
God, dude, I still look at his covers and I don't know how he makes this. Do you know what I mean? Like I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand how he put down lines to do this.
And here's the thing, that was all before digital stuff.
Yeah.
That's all mostly painting.
Oh yeah, it's all painting.
Yeah.
You know?
And lots of airbrush and draw like you can see his underdrawing through a lot of that. Like it's not like it's heavy layers of paint in places.
Wow. So so Wonder Man was actually in production since last year.
Oh wow.
And they said at the time Wonder Man's going to definitely be influenced by the comics. One of the things that we're excited about is that it's going to feel very unique. Not going to feel like anything you've quite seen before. Yeah.
He wasn't that much of an original character though, you know?
No. He's a weird character.
He had strength. And could he fly? Could he fly? I don't remember if he could fly.
He's a third string Avenger.
Yeah.
He's a West Coast Avenger.
But that could also make it funny, right? It was probably going to be a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a comedy.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, that would be a pretty bad idea.
But that's how they were going with a lot of the Marvel shows and movies was comedy.
All right, Andrew, let's see. Do you want to show some of your slab books?
Well, I want to show you guys two comics that I picked up it was a couple of boxes of 50-cent comics. The first is P. Craig Russell's Night Music from Eclipse Comics.
Oh, look at that.
This is like
nice.
Jungle Book tales. You know, some gorgeous art, but it's all P. Craig Russell, like start to finish. I mean, gorgeous stuff. And the other one, this one was a series from, and I have a couple issues of this in the store, from Aircel, AIRCEL. I never picked the series up. I don't think I ever picked up anything called Cat and Mouse.
Uh-huh.
They had, in some of their later issues, had some very tantalizing covers, and this one, for some reason, just sold me on the cover.
Yeah, so
don't know
they're
why.
an indie. Wow, what
He
they were
bought
an
that for-
indie
he
publisher. I
bought
don't
that
remember
for-
some of the other books they made. They did a bunch of books though, didn't they?
He bought that for the booty.
Bought it for the booty.
That's
Hold on a second. I'm trying to win another auction. Give me just a second. This is for a good one too.
We're watching you.
You're watching me? All right. If I lose it, I lose it. But if I win it, and I'll be happy. But it's actually, if I tell you the issue number, you probably know exactly which one it is. It's Uncanny X-Men number 201.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You should be.
Well, isn't that a John? I don't know the numbers. Isn't that like a John Romita Jr. cover?
Nope.
See, I don't know the numbers.
It's Rick Leonardi. It's the one where Storm and Cyclops face off against each other to see who was going to lead the X-Men. And at the time, Storm had no powers. So she was powerless. She was powerless, and she fought Cyclops in the Danger Room, and she beat him. She beat him to become leader of the X-Men. And do you guys remember how she beat him?
I don't have that issue.
Oh, damn. Well, I'm getting a graded copy coming in, so I'm happy about that.
How did she beat him, Andrew?
She took off his visor. She did a backflip over him and snatched his visor off his head. And he refused, being the hero he is, to open his eyes and defeat her. So he conceded. And she had no powers. She was just very... She was a gymnast type character, an acrobatic type character, and she flipped over him and snagged his visor. And I
love Storm, man. Storm's awesome. Storm's one of my favorite X-Men. Always has been.
Yep. All right, so first up, this is Punisher War Journal number 30 from 1991. This is a 9.6 copy, but it's got a Michael Golden cover with Ghost Rider in the issue.
Yeah, that's a beautiful book.
Nothing significant about it other than the fact you got to love these Michael Golden covers, you know?
Yes.
And if you're buying CGC books for the covers, that's a great one to have in your collection. Next one is a G.I. Joe. This is issue number 56 of G.I. Joe. It's only an 8.5 copy, but still, you know, as a G.I. Joe fan, this is kind of cool. Now, this isn't one of the early issues that I would keep for myself right now, but it's definitely one that if it never sold, I'd be perfectly fine with keeping it. And that's from 1987. So in the heyday, I started collecting comics in 85. I think the G.I. Joe issues I started with were in the late 30s, early 40s. So, all right, the next, I think it's 3 that I have here. 3 of them. Yep, next 3 are all Wonder Woman. They're all from the 90s, mid-90s. This was when John Byrne was writing and drawing the series. Let me make sure I have these in order. Yep. All right. I mainly picked these up because they were a decent price, and they were all 9.8s. So this is one.
Oh, yeah.
This was a nice looking cover.
That Jeff Johnson cover?
No, it's John Byrne. He wrote and drew it and did the covers.
All right.
So next up is issue 109. Once again, another 9.8.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This
that's
one featuring the Flash. Yep.
Yeah.
Now I had a guy come into the store the other day, and he was looking at my CGC books, and he was, you know, debating getting some, and he was a collector of CGC books, and he looked at some of them, and he goes, "Man, I don't understand why people grade some of these books, as in." These books aren't worth grading. Why would you do it in the first place?
Right. Which
and all I could think to myself was, no, I don't care. I don't care. This is another Wonder Woman. This is issue 110. Once again, fighting
Some
Sinestro
people want
and the
entire runs graded and sealed.
Eventually, all the books will be backed and will be graded, man.
Now, this is the one that this is the one that I have a story regarding. This is Invaders number 35 from 1978. I have another copy of this. It's a 7.5. This is actually a 9.6 version of the same book, but you may or may not notice it's got a green label, a green CGC qualified grade. And if you guys want to hear the story, I will explain to you what a certified grade label is all about.
Yeah, do it.
But in the meantime, let me show you one more book.
Okay.
This is the one that is not going to the store. This is staying in my collection. This will actually stay in my collection until I get a better copy. But G.I. Joe #2.
Oh.
If you guys don't remember, back in the 80s, this came out in 1982. It was extremely typical for the companies to produce a whole crap load of #1s, and then they would almost literally cut the printing of the issue 2 almost in half. And what happened is this book in the 80s, later in the 80s, became the title was very, very popular. And the problem was issue 1 was common enough you could find it. You probably had to pay a pretty penny for it. But issue #2, there were less of them. So issue #2, price guide wise, was worth like 3 times the cost of issue #1. Wow. I remember when I was collecting G.I. Joe, issue #2 was like $100 book at one point. And there was no way I was ever going to get a copy. And I ended up getting a copy. And
I think I have a G.I. Joe digest book that has that.
See, I had the digest as well, the small little mini one.
Yeah.
So I've read the story. I read it in reprints, but I never owned an original page. And this one actually is white.
That's awesome.
So it's great.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell you how much I paid for it, but
that's awesome, man.
Needless to say, I wasn't breaking the bank buying it. But I also have a copy of issue #3. A 6.5 in my personal collection.
Now having gotten the Grail, is that why your chest hair is now migrating through your shirt?
It's dog hair, guys. I told you that already. I have a
lint roller.
I have a lint roller over here. I can use it, maybe.
You don't have to. It's okay. We love you anyway.
All right. Hold on a second. I'm trying to win another auction.
Oh my god, you're such a junkie, man.
Well, this one is a. Oops. Please don't clip this. Is that better, Avery?
Can we do this in like slow-mo?
Felt good. All right.
Yeah, much better.
So the issue I'm trying to win right now is a copy of Web of Spider-Man #36. There's a minute left in the auction. It's currently up to $31.51. It's a 9.4, which isn't bad, but it is the first appearance of the villain Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
If you've seen the first animated Into the Spider-Verse movie, he was one of the characters that made an appearance in there, and so I mean it's a significant issue, and I may break the bank and go $50 on it. Let's see what happens. It's up to $31.51 with 20 seconds left. Can I steal it from somebody? The guide shows that it's a $75 book at a 9.4. So I'm going to bid. It just jumped to $33.33. I'll wait till 4 seconds is left, and then I'll.
What's the name of the auction so I can bid on it too?
I want it.
Nice.
Good job.
And for way less than it's worth. So I actually have some customers that are big Spider-Man fans, and this is something that they would definitely be interested in. And the other 2 books I was bidding on that I'm not currently winning is X-Men Adventures #1. It was the series that was based on the Fox TV show. I actually, in the collection I bought last week, have a copy of this. So I was just curious to see how it would do. It's an 8.5, and I'm pretty sure mine's in better condition than that. And it's currently only at $11. So I'm more or less watching it, not really bidding on it. And then the other one is X-Men Annual #14, which I already have a copy in a 9.2. It's only at $23. I think I paid way more than that. So the question is, should I try to get a second copy at lower price? Let me see. What did I pay for the copy I have?
Only if you think you can sell it.
Oh, I paid $58 for a 9.2 copy. Well, it's the first cameo appearance of Gambit, so I mean, it's got value to it. But see, I've already won my 4 auctions for the night. Do I really want to push it?
No.
Yeah. This particular seller, he'll combine shipping to up to 4 books, and I've already won 4 books. So if I win any of these other 2, it's another $17 worth.
Right. So if you win another auction, you have to win 3 more.
Yeah, and he doesn't have enough up there. So one of which is I already have a copy, I just don't have it graded, and the other one I already have it graded at that value, but
Just so
Anyway.
long as you list everything for sale in your shop for exactly twice as much as you bought it for.
That's
well,
right.
Sometimes,
he says.
yeah. Now that X-Men Adventures book, the one I'm looking at right now, that book, I'm gonna look at the price. I know
You
a 9
just can't stop, man. You just have problems, man. Are you going to tell us about the green label? You're leaving us in suspense, so we have like 10 minutes left in the show.
All right, I can do it in 10 minutes. For those of you not familiar with it, there was, and you don't have to highlight me or anything, I just tell you the story.
Okay.
There was a thing back in, I think it was the 70s, where Marvel did something nasty with their comics. They put what they called the little collectible stamps, where it was literally on the page, it was an image of a character and it looked like a stamp, and it even said clip out and collect, and they actually put out a little book for you to collect your stamps in. They literally told people, destroy your books, kill the value of them, so that you could have this stupid little stamp that meant nothing to anybody, and Todd, I don't know if you know this, but one of the worst books that had a stamp in it was Incredible Hulk number 181.
No shit, really?
Do you know how many people had that issue and utterly destroyed it by clipping out the coupon, the Marvel value stamp or whatever?
So Hulk 181 is the first appearance of Wolverine.
First appearance of Wolverine. It's a multi-$1,000 book right now.
Yeah, it's worth a fortune. Yeah.
So when I got this book, and I did know that the label said certified, and actually, okay, let me tell you a little bit what the certified label means. Let's say you have a book that's signed by somebody, but it was never verified by CGC, and you send it in to have it graded. Having somebody's signature on it doesn't matter to them. It's literally somebody wrote on the cover. Doesn't matter if it's a signature. None. So it lowers the value of the book because somebody wrote on the book. Okay. Same thing with the value stamps. If somebody clipped out a value stamp, that is literally cutting a piece out of the book. Now, what they found was that in a lot of cases, especially with the removing of the value stamps, is they were usually close to like the letters page. So they didn't interfere with the story of the book. They didn't interfere with the art or the story. They were just like an extra thing. They were like a coupon in the back that somebody clipped out. So what CGC did is they created this certified category, this green label. If you've ever heard of CGC has multiple labels. I think they have 25 different color labels. The blue one is the regular one. The yellow or gold one, those are the signature ones, verified signature ones. The green ones, which are common or qualified, and then there's also the purple ones. They call them the purple labels of death, is because that means the comic was restored. So if they can see like somebody like replace the staples or whiten the cover or cleaned up the cover, and they can see restoration, they slap it with a purple label. And a lot of collectors, that destroys the value of the book because they don't want restored copies. Now, for like older, like if you had Superman number 1 and it had a purple restored label, who the hell cares? That's something like that people would still want. But more modern books, they see a purple label, they're not going to buy that book at all. And a lot of people have the same feeling towards the green ones. Now, This is what the green ones signify. The green ones signify that there is at least one significant defect in the comic, whether it's somebody wrote on the cover or somebody clipped out a coupon. In this particular issue's case, it actually says on it, certified, cover detached from the bottom staple. Okay, so that means the cover itself is not connected to this book on this bottom staple. Now, for you and I, it's slabbed. That doesn't make a hill of beans. So what they did is they created this label in which it pretty much says, other than that one defect, this is the grade of the book, a 9.6. Okay, that way, if you had a copy of Hulk number 181 with the thing clipped out of it, and you asked them to qualify it, they would grade it based on everything else other than the fact that it's missing.
That's such a weird thing, because you would think like that's such a weird thing because you would think that if you cut something out of the book, you've damaged the book, which would lower it.
Well, yes, value. A book that has the coupon clipped out of it could be as low as a 0.5 or a 0.1 or 1.0. I mean, it's literally the bottom basement of the grade. But if you think about it, if you had a significant book like Hulk 181 and somebody clipped out the coupon out of it or the value stamp and it didn't interfere with any of the story or any of the art and everything else was perfect, would you want a 0.5 as your grade? So they created this it's qualified grade in order to say beyond this one little
he's all choked up,
beyond this one defect, this one, and in some cases they're understandable defects, like the cover detaching from the staple or somebody writing on it or signing it or somebody clipping out a coupon. That's an understandable in most collectors' eyes. But the article I was reading said there's a lot of collectors that are torn. They're like, if it's a 0.5, then give it a damn 0.5. Don't give it a higher score just because. But they created this green label in order to distinguish books that had a defect but not a life-altering, comic-altering defect, And like I said, I paid for the 7.5 of this that I have, which is a regular blue label. I didn't pay a lot. I didn't pay much more for this. But being a 9.6, this is a gorgeous cover. Yeah. And I mean, it's not, it's all a matter of whether or not a collector will look at that and say, I care. Most collectors, if they think this is awesome, they're going to buy it because it looks awesome. They're not going to care about what the color of the label is, But then there's collectors out there that are hardcore, and it's just, I thought it was really weird. Also, the article that I read listed all the different key books, like first appearances of characters that had the Marvel stamp in it, and you'd be shocked as shit at how many of them. Like there's a Thor issue, which is the first appearance of Firelord, had the stamp in it. And there's a whole bunch more. And they were first appearance major events that happened back in the 70s that literally Marvel said, go ahead, destroy your book. Go ahead. It's cool. Go ahead and do it. And people back in those days did.
Right. Because it wasn't like a collectible.
Yeah, they were disposable.
Yeah.
That was the thought process.
But what's crazy is they also listed, they said, okay, what if this book got a 5.0 qualified because of something was missing from it, and if it was unqualified, it would be like a 1.0. What's the value difference? And people do pay less for the qualified graded books, but it's not by a super lot. It's not crazy. But there are those purists out there that if they're going to buy a Hulk 181, they want it to be in pristine, perfect, the best condition they can get it. And then there's other people like, I would love to have that issue even if the stamp was removed,
Well, that's a great thing to end on. In fact, MK is like, learning corner with Drew. That was cool. Have a great weekend all. Headed off for the night. We are 2MK. Thank you for hanging out with us. We started a little late tonight, so I could put the kids to bed. So I appreciate you, everyone, staying an hour, kind of moving it back an hour for me. And I really do appreciate it. Everybody, have a good weekend. What's up, Andrew?
That's because we love you.
I know.
I
And
was
love you
contractually obligated.
too. I know, and I love you too, Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty. Me too. Me too, buddy.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Oh,
Have a
yeah.
great weekend. Happy Friday. We will see you back next week. Hopefully, we get Lore Games on track next week. We'll figure it out.
27 more Fridays to go.
Yay.
Bye, guys. God
Bye.
bless. Take care. Peace out. Have a great weekend. See you.